Welcome back to the Real Estate News. With me now is Geri Colucci, owner of Equitable Property Management. Welcome, Geri. It's so great to see you again.
Thank you very much. I'm glad to be here.
So now today we're going to talk about how repair issues are handled for rental properties.
Yes.
Now, can you tell us who reports the repair issues to Equitable and how are they reported?
Well, the repair issues are reported by the tenants. However, when we sign a lease with a tenant, we have them sign two forms that specifically talk about repairs. One is called do's and don'ts, and one is called a move out checklist, which they sign when they move in. And it tells them things like make sure you use liquid plumber if your drain's not working, and make sure your batteries are in your smoke detector, and so forth. So when the tenant reports it to us, they have already gone through some checklist about how to handle a repair before they call us.
Okay, so now once it's been reported, how is the repair issue evaluated and handled?
Well, once it's been reported, it can either be reported through our website, which is interactive for the tenant. It can be reported by phone, especially if it's an emergency, or it can be reported by email. And the person that is reported to is our office manager, Liz Panteliano. And then she determines the emergent nature or the non-emergent nature, and then hires a vendor to address the issue.
Okay, so can you give us an idea like what type of repair issues come up and who does the actual repair?
Well, a very common repair issue is a garbage disposal. They get clogged, whether it's with bones or corn husks or whatever. So they'll call Liz, and Liz will give them a couple troubleshooting mechanisms. You know, shut it off, put your hand down, make sure there's nothing clogging it, use the reset button, and try to figure out whether or not we can unclog it. And if we can't, then Liz picks from our list of vendors and decides who's appropriate. And the vendor calls the tenant, and then the tenant makes their own appointment so that no one goes into the tenant's house without their permission to do the repair.
Well, it's great to have that kind of consideration for their privacy. Now, are the vendors licensed and insured?
They are licensed and insured, and we have a wonderful list of vendors. We give out a lot of business, and so our vendors are very loyal, they're very expeditious. And one of the things they do when they go out to a home is they determine whether the repair is a functional issue or whether it's an issue that is tenant neglect or misuse. And they know that when they're going out to the house.
Okay, now so once the repair has been completed, everybody's happy, how do the vendors get paid? Do the tenant pay or do you pay?
Well, it depends. The vendor, we like for the tenant to be there with the vendor, so the vendor can then say to the tenant, hey, I found a bottle cap in the garbage disposal, I found a compact mirror in the toilet. So the tenant will know that it was misuse, and then they're responsible to pay.
Okay.
However, if it's a functional issue, then the owner pays. And what we do is we collect the owner's rent, and they have given us permission by the management contract to go ahead and pay the vendors. We'd like to get our vendors paid in 30 days.
Okay. And so that just depends on who caused the problem, right?
Right, exactly.
Now, who's responsible in your office? You said there's a particular contact person, right, for your tenants to contact that handles the repairs?
Our office manager, Liz Panteliano, she handles all the repairs, and then when the repair is done, she approves it and then approves the invoice when it comes in, and she gives it to Lee Jones, who is our bookkeeper, and then that bill will get paid once a month. So if a vendor does a repair in September, it'll get paid in October. In October, it'll get paid in November, and all of our vendors know this in advance before they do work for us.
Okay. Now, it must give the tenants a good peace of mind to have a contact person they can get in touch with, you know, for any type of issue like this.
It is, and on our answering machine on weekends, because we're not open on Saturday and Sunday other than for emergencies, there is a contact number right on our answering machine phone to give Liz a call if it happens to be an emergency. And we're very expeditious about getting our repairs done. It's important for the integrity of the house, for the owner, and for the comfort of the tenant. So they know they can always reach us.
Well, and I think that's something that sets you apart, wouldn't you say? Is you know, we joke, you and I personally have joked about, you know, OCD type personalities,
right?
But really, it's just that attention to detail and the fact that you always keep, you know, both, you know, what's best for your owner and the comfort of your tenant in mind.
One thing we never forget is that although it's an investment property for an owner, it is a personal residence, a home for a tenant, and we want them to be as comfortable as possible and know that they can depend on us if they have an issue.
Well, and I think, you know, as you and I have joked about before, you know, if if I'm an owner and someone's
Yeah.
taking care of my property, you know, I definitely want someone with your type of personality looking out for me. And I would say a
Yes.
flip side too for the tenant, right? Because if
Yes.
I'm a tenant, you know, I want someone who's responsive. I want someone that cares that my garbage disposal is clogged and that affects my quality of life, right?
Yeah, and sometimes it's hard when you have to tell a tenant, I'm so sorry you have to pay for this invoice.
Right.
But we need to be fair to the owners and the tenants.
No, I think that's great. Well, Geri,
Yeah.
as always, we really appreciate all your great information, and you have a very lucky group of tenants and owners.
Thank you very much. It's nice to be back.
Well, thanks for being here, and stay with us. After the break, Sherry Nixon with Keller Williams Realty will be joining us.